Use your powers for evil.
Your evil is mine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that's not afraid to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am Jesse Jackson, and alongside is my co-host and companion, Charles Skaggs. Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jesse, how are you today?
I am great. I am excited to talk about this episode.
Yes, so am I.
In fact, I'm going to break our format a little bit
Uh-oh.
and do feedback a little bit early. I ran into my good friend Ken Schaefer
Uh-oh.
and in the hallway, and he goes, "Was that creepy enough for Charles?" So I think I'm going to start with that. Quick thoughts on the episode.
Yes, the short answer, yes, it was a very creepy episode. I actually adored this episode so much because it was creepy in the beginning and it stayed creepy till the end. I thought the Boneless, which it was hard to tell what their name was going to be because the music was so loud and overpowering by Murray Gold. But the Boneless, I thought, was a great new addition to Doctor Who Monsters. And I really hope we see them again because I think they got a lot of potential, probably the most potential since the Weeping Angels.
Yeah, they were really a cool villain, and the the whole on the wall, and seeing the skin and the nervous system, and then being afraid. I know you were involved in other things Saturday night,
Yes.
but and we are sending good thoughts to the parental unit, but I was live tweeting a little bit behind, and someone said, "Oh, great! Now I've got to be afraid of walls." so, so I thought it was wonderful.
It's Doctor Who. You need to be afraid of everything.
Absolutely. Um, Now, are you a fan of the British show Misfits?
I have seen it. I watched the first season. It
Okay.
was a little tough for me to get into, just for some reason, which is weird because, I mean, you would think British show, superpowers, you'd think I'd be right on
Yeah.
board with that. But it didn't really hook me like it should have. I might go back later and give it another go, to
Yeah.
be fair, but at the moment, it kind of lost me.
Yeah, it didn't connect with me either, and I have a little tougher time sometimes getting into British shows, just because the dialogue is a little different cadence, and it's just a little off. Um, and I do know that a lot of people in our fellow podcasts, especially tuning into Sci-Fi TV, love the show. But I thought of that a little bit when we were seeing the community service.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
know, just there was no, it was not any reference to it, just the idea.
Yeah, at least they
So
weren't all in like bright red jumpsuits.
absolutely, yes. Um, so let's go straight to. I think there's two or three absolutely. And by the way, I love the episode too. I just thought it was everything you want in a Doctor Who episode. The classic monster. There was running, but there was a little bit of twist. And I really love the ending. So we'll save to talk that a little bit. But the not so tiny TARDIS, just the miniature TARDIS at first.
Yes.
The TARDIS I want in my backyard so bad. Talk to me about that a little bit.
You mean the TARDIS I have over by my 5-inch action figures? Because that was pretty when Clara kind of had that one in her, like,
yes.
she was. That's basically that. I think that's what they used, was one of those toy TARDISes.
Yes. No, I was actually talking at first when it looks like almost like a doghouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was tall enough that he could get in
Yeah.
and out
Yeah, the
of.
squeeze. Yeah.
Um, yes. Um, and just this is huge, not literally, slightly smaller than usual,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
huge.
That was such a great moment.
It was a great moment. Um, and this is, we had a reason, but it was good to see for the first time that the TARDIS didn't go where it was supposed to.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in earlier podcasts that, um, Sexy seems to be obeying number 12's driving a little better, or maybe they just hadn't had the opportunity. But it was kind of funny to see, your house is there,
Yeah.
but my house is here
Yeah.
too, but it's not
Yeah, they
there.
end up in Brighton, or no, it was
Hmm.
Bristol. They end up in Bristol
Yes.
instead of the Coal Hill School.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And and the doctor's all happy because he doesn't know what's going on, and he even chastised her, right? Can you not let me enjoy this? Very, very funny. um and um there was just a lot of really good special effects. And then when it got really, really tiny, I have a TARDIS cookie jar on my desk at work that I keep candy in, and it did look that size. And I just can see cosplayers everywhere, dressed as Clara carrying the little
Oh,
TARDIS.
you know that's coming. And they'll
Yes,
they'll also be like, like they'll have their hands coming out of the TARDIS. Like they'll open up the
yes,
bottom and then they'll stick their hands coming
yes,
out, just
yes.
like Thing from the Addams Family. And yep.
Yes, which we got the reference to, which was absolutely wonderful.
And
Um,
a clever way to save the TARDIS that's never been done. I,
no, no, it was really clever. Um, so let's talk about I'm the doctor, but you can call me Clara.
yes.
So Clara is outside.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor can't leave because it's tiny. We did get the great line from the kid, right? It's smaller,
Yeah.
it's bigger on the outside. There's that statement has never been more true. Uh, Talk to me a little bit about Clara as the doctor.
Yeah, she's basically the substitute doctor or the pinch hitter doctor, whichever you want to look at, the way you want to look at it. Um, it was interesting because she's stepping up to the plate and she knows how to work that sonic screwdriver, so she's had some previous use or she's paid really close attention somehow. Um,
And she was all
yeah,
happy to get the sonic
yeah, she got the
paper.
psychic paper, and even
Yeah,
though it didn't really work for her because whoever she was talking to had no imagination whatsoever. So,
right.
but it was good. I mean, she even gets her own companion in the form of Rigsy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the
Yes.
companion. She has the
Who
companion's companion.
Yes, and he was a really cool
Hmm.
companion. Um, I loved the commentary of, the doctor going, don't do it. I'm the doctor, but you can call me Clara, the doctor of lies, And I love the fact that um, the doctor talking about Clara lying to him because he found
Right.
out and he seemed really unhappy with that. I also thought it was very interesting that um, when she okay, and I've lost my point now.
Okay.
So
I'll jump in.
hang,
I'll
keep
jump in.
going.
That
Yes,
basically, I think what you're talking about is like when he talks to Clara about lying, and he's like, "Congratulations, lying is a vital survival skill, and a terrible habit."
yes, absolutely. And we got to later where she puts the mirror up to himself and says, well, I lied to them just like you do. And the doctor, well, it's true. People with hope run faster, you know. And she sold the line. I'm the one chance you have of staying alive. So she had really learned. But what I got distracted on is how the doctor was calling pudding brains, fluorescent pudding
Yeah.
brains. And then all of a sudden, Rigi, right, goes, well, maybe they're here, because isn't that always the locked room message? And the doctor all of a sudden does this complete 180. Oh, I think you judged him too quickly. you know,
Well, he said
this.
he said the one thing that he said the
Go
one
ahead.
thing that impressed the doctor.
Yes. And it made me feel like, no offense meant, but many consultants I've worked with that, till they totally have one opinion till someone higher up says a different thing. And then all of a sudden they're, oh, yeah, I was thinking this the whole time. So I thought that was really funny, kind of interesting. Um, the I also really love the special effects that, the wall was creeping up on them, and he kind of determines that they could be in a different dimension. And then when they became the walking paintings, it was a little bit zombie, a little bit, black, almost like a strobe light. It was a wonderful special effect, and also a creepy as heck
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah, because those monsters. I mean, it gave you something to feel like you're being chased by. I mean, and on the one hand, you
Yes.
had kind of like it was almost like the movie Slither, where they kind of like slither across the floor, and you have to. It's basically that it turns into the floor is lava, and you have to like get up on your couch
Yeah.
and avoid the floor that whole game.
Right.
But I thought that was really interesting that that whole sequence where Claire is saving herself and Rigsy while she's talking to Danny on the phone
Yes.
and still
So
outright lying to him about what she's doing.
my question to you, Charles, is why didn't she just let it go to
That's a very
voicemail?
good question. It's not near it
Okay.
wasn't nearly as complicated, and so therefore, we can't have that. It's too common sense.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think he was expecting
Mhm.
her to be there pretty soon, but it was very funny.
But
And
to be fair,
I did love,
she may have panicked
yeah,
in the moment.
yes, absolutely. And then he's like, "Are you in danger?" And he's standing up like he can go help her. And there's not anything you can do. Um, I did love the doctor testing them and coming up with the device that could make
The two
them,
the two discs.
inflatable. Yeah, the TUDIS.
Yeah.
And that was, and she's like looking at it, calling it the
Yeah,
wrong name,
the
and he's just so
Tudis.
proud that it's the
It's like,
TUDIS.
"Isn't that brilliant? Why aren't you getting my
Like,
brilliance?"
ta-da!
It's better
Yes.
than the machine that goes
Mhm.
ding.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Um, the they called them some different names till he called them the boneless. And I thought that was pretty cool too, that the doctor
Mhm.
going, no, 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 that's a bad name. No, 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 that's not a bad name.
One thing I did though,
Um,
before we get too far along,
yeah,
one thing I did like about the whole Clara taking over as the doctor was that it kind of it allowed both Clara and the doctor to kind of see things from the other's perspective. Because you had on one hand, Claire
yes,
seeing things about, what everything that the doctor has to deal with, the responsibility and all the hard choices, while on the other hand, the
hmm
doctor's getting an idea of what he sounds like to others. That I thought was pretty interesting.
yes. I do, and we already talked about the tiny TARDIS family, the Adams
Yep.
family. It's creepy and it's kooky, and that was really funny. And a lot of times when the doctor, was pointing and telling her what to look at, um, the I thought the climax was really good about they're going to smash something and they're going to do all this, and a really nice scene with, her going, well, okay, I was just going to put my hairband here, but
And then
hey,
she
it's a
turned the
perfectly
hairband
good
into a
hairband.
dramatic
And
moment of like,
you know
like this hairband just sacrificed itself. for us.
Yes. Right. Anything else about the I want to have a discussion about her begging for a compliment and him talking about it, and I want to discuss because I felt like this addressed
hmm
some of my concerns about the grumpy
Okay.
and cold doctor. So I want to talk a little about that. But before we get to that, anything else about the monsters or the story?
Let's see. One thing I noticed that, the doctor made this comment to Clara about like, you really throw your companions into the deep end, don't you? Which I thought, was just a perfectly like ironic statement from the doctor because he's always doing that to his companions. And it's nice that to see the show being aware of that.
Well, it was, one of my favorite lines that we quote all the time from Friends is, "Hello, kettle. This is pot. You're black." you know, because yes, it was. And if she wasn't in such a weird place, I could see her going, "Really, really, you have the nerve to point that out to me? Really?" Yes.
But to go on to your point about Clara wanting the compliment, um, yeah, it seems that, I mean, and they've kind of addressed this here and there, but Clara has a little bit of insecurity, needless to say. And
Yes.
like when the doctor talks to her earlier in the season about being kind of a control freak, and so, but it's interesting because like once she's actually in control, she has that initial doubt and like I want to be in control, but okay, now that I'm in control, what do I do? So
Yeah.
until she finally, like, okay, I'm the doctor now, so I'm gonna save
Mhm.
us and we'll get out of this, and it all
Yeah,
worked
at
out.
first she was just thinking it was funny, and then she felt the responsibility, and she did do really well. And she did. Um, there is a point where all children, want your parents to say, "Good
hmm
job." I'm proud of you. And so it, and he kind of changed it where he said, yes, she did
hmm
well, but he also kind of painted her with a brush that's a little too close to home for me, right? That there was goodness had
Right,
nothing to
right.
do with
Yeah,
it.
that whole line of you were an exceptional doctor, Clara, but goodness had nothing to do with it. I think that was him saying that sometimes that you can't always be good to be the
Hmm.
doctor. Sometimes you got to do something you don't want to do, and it wasn't because you weren't doing it through like you know altruistic means. You were doing it because
Yeah, and
you had to do it.
he really took home, or at least made the point that I feel every death. I I do it in a practical thing that I move on, but that doesn't mean I don't think of the
hmm
sacrifices. I don't think of my failures. And, it goes back to him going, Clara, am I a
Right.
good man?
And also
You know?
Jamie Matheson, who wrote this brilliant episode and wrote the previous brilliant episode, Mummy on the Orient Express. He
Yeah.
addresses that there too. He's saying, would it be easier if you think I was heartless? So
Yes.
yeah, I think the doctor's aware of how he's being perceived, and
Yeah.
he's speaking to Clara, but I think he's also speaking to some of the audience that still, have their doubts and reservations, and they just can't quite click with this new doctor.
Yeah, and I
Not
do
yet,
think
anyway.
it was really well done that I hear you and I understand what you're saying and I understand your concerns, and it is not easy being me.
hmm
And we don't it's an interesting thought that why does he do this? We don't ever determine why. Um, it's a nitpick with me the same way that on Supernatural, Dean and Sam say, "Well, it's our
hmm
job." No, it's not your job. It's just what you guys have started to do. Um, but it is his
Right.
calling or what he enjoys to do. Um, and it costs him, and it is, I think he feels every failure and every hurt. And we got a little bit of David Tennant, where, he didn't say, "I'm sorry, I'm so
Hmm.
very sorry," but he did say to the Boneless, "Remember, I tried
Right.
to talk to you. I tried to find out what's going on, and you've made these choices, and therefore I've got
Yeah,
to
that
do this."
that was kind of something that was kind of addressed in a lot of classic stories, especially during the John
Yes.
Pertwee era, um, because his doctor was more like uh, saw like he always reached out to the aliens and wanted because he was an alien, is an alien. So
Hmm.
he kind of
Yeah.
sees things from the aliens' perspective, obviously more than militaristic humanoids do. So he's willing to reach out first and hope that
Yes.
okay we can have a peaceful dialogue. But of course, because this is Doctor Who, it doesn't happen. But he still wants that. I mean, so this case with the Boneless, it's like, yeah, exactly. He's saying, look, like I tried to work with you guys, but obviously you're not in the mood to play along, so I'm gonna have to lay down the
Yeah.
law here.
He did not have the anger of the 10th Doctor during Family of
Yeah,
Blood.
the
Was that
yeah,
the
oh yeah,
two-parter?
yeah, exactly. The whole human
Yeah.
nature, yeah, by Paul Cornell,
Yes.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, he in that one he was just pissed off and like
Yes.
really like threw them to the wolves because he was just really angry. Um, this time,
Yeah.
yeah, there wasn't that rage there.
No. And I got to tell you, Charles, um, there are, there's a line in Big Bang Theory where they go, Gail, don't get me wrong, I love the new stuff, but sometimes I love the classics. Um, some of my Bruce Springsteen fans, especially the old ones, will kind of get the, well, I don't want to hear the hits, but when I hear Born to Run live, I'm up, I'm screaming. And to have the doctor say, "This is Earth, I'm their
Hmm.
protector," and remember that is so old school. It is so consistent. Even I, as a fairly newbie, and I get a kick
Yeah,
every time
yeah.
he
This
does it.
was this was the 12th Doctor's version of, this planet is protected, or like, and
Yes.
from the Christmas invasion, or
Right.
the Pandorica,
Eleventh
or
hour.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 11th hour, or even the Pandorica opens. It's just his big
Yeah.
moment. But yeah, it's where he's telling him, look, all right, it's I'm the guy, I'm the man who stops the monsters. And
Yes.
so, and right now you're the
And
monster, and I'm going to
yes,
stop you.
absolutely. We also got Missy back, and a really cool
Hmm.
Missy kind of episode.
Or teaser.
What are you
Yeah, that
thinking?
that whole thing, that whole business with her at the end, um, where she's looking at her iPad. I'm thinking, okay, Apple apparently has a store in the Nether Sphere somewhere where she can get this
Hmm.
iPad, and she's looking at Clara, and she's going, Clara, my Clara, I have chosen well, all ominous and everything.
Yes.
Um, so is I guess we're left to wonder, okay, is Clara deliberately working for Missy as like a double agent or something, or is she
Mm.
unwittingly doing what Missy wants, or like maybe
Yes.
she's like a pawn in the chessboard, and that goes back to um, earlier in the season where Clara felt like a pawn in the chessboard. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, you're during the caretaker. Um, that
Hmm.
yeah, it's I'm kind of wondering, yeah, if like this is just more of Missy behind the scenes going setting up the chessboard and going, okay, get ready to
And
play a
it
game.
almost looked like she was, signed on to a webcam that was coming from the TARDIS. So
Right,
from that
she hacked the
perspective.
TARDIS and got in, and
Yes.
yeah.
Um, I do not think Clara is doing anything deliberately, but I'm okay, and I've really enjoyed that they've not gone to the Missy well
Right.
every episode. We thought they were for a while, but they haven't. And this was a little bit different because we didn't see anyone who died, there in the afterlife. Really, really cool.
Unless you count the
Yeah.
boneless, I guess, or the people that were killed by the
Yes.
boneless. So some of them may
Mhm.
show up, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think some fans have expressed their online. They've expressed that they have a problem with this running plot line. Like it's not really like it's not grabbing them as much as it should be. And to some extent, I kind of agree with that. But by that same token, like you said, at least we're not getting beaten over the head every single episode. It's being teased deliberately, and I'm getting, just we just have to hope there's a really good payoff for all this. It's going to be a
Yes.
two-parter, so there's plenty of room to kind of flesh it out. So yeah,
Mhm.
we just have to just wait a
Right.
couple more episodes, and for the season two-part season finale, and we'll know more. Obviously,
So a wise one, how many
we
episodes
have
do we have
3
left?
of this,
Okay.
and then the
Including
Christmas special.
Okay, yeah, the 3
Because right now,
so we have 1 episode and then
yes,
the 2-part. Because isn't November 5th the
yes,
final?
yeah,
Okay. All right.
or
Okay.
November
Good.
1st.
Okay. I
Yeah,
don't
it's a
know.
Saturday, so
Okay.
yeah, I think that's November
All
1st.
right. Okay. Anything else we need to cover before we give ratings and favorite
Yeah, I just
lines?
want to know what you thought of the TARDIS in siege mode.
Um,
You know
it
the
was it was interesting. I liked seeing that the TARDIS had been drained. I thought Clara's solution was very
Mhm.
clever. Also, because you had Chekhov's gun, we'd established that he was a good painter, and he even pointed right. He said, "Oh, this is one of mine." So when she thought of that, and they're just doing it, and the doctor had said, the only way I can really get this energy. So I thought it was really well done. It did,
Yeah,
little bitty, the little
Rubik's cube
bitty,
TARDIS.
yes, was very, very slick. Um, a little weird that life support and
Hmm.
everything's failing, and would have been interesting. Would he have regenerated inside
That's a
the
that's a good
tiny
question. Or he
TARDIS?
would have been until he would have just keep regenerating, I guess, until he runs out of regenerations. Who knows?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
I don't know.
yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's like it almost looked like a little miniature Pandorica, but
Yes, it
this one
did.
had Gallifreyan symbols on it. So, and I'm
Yes,
sure it's going to be very popular as a toy.
yes, absolutely. By the way, shout out to one of my coworkers, James. He IM'd me today, and this is totally off topic, but I'm talking. I keep a lot of geek stuff in my office on a
No,
shelf, and
no, not you.
and no, I know, and so I have I have Doctor Who Monopoly, and I have the unopened box of the exploding TARDIS, the
Hmm.
Van Gogh
Van
or
Gogh.
Van Gogh.
It's
But
Scottish.
someone today brought me a
Hmm.
tribble in its little case, so that got up on the shelf. But I would love the uh, the TARDIS
Yeah,
in distress,
siege mode.
little
The TARDIS in
thing.
siege mode.
Yes,
Yeah.
I need that. Absolutely. Good. How about it? Anything
No, I think
else?
that about does it.
Okay. Um, let's see. Favorite
Um,
line?
you want to go first, so I don't
Sure.
steal your line?
Um, I, it's not going to be easy. I have a
Oh,
hairband to live up
nice.
to.
You changed it up
Yes.
on me. Mine
Yes.
was, can you not just let me enjoy this moment of not knowing something? I mean, it happens so rarely.
That was
I just thought
wonderful.
that just
Yes.
sung. And Jamie
Yes.
Matheson as the writer, like I said, for this and the Mummy on the Orient Express, he's really proven himself. I mean, he's had 2 good episodes. So as a new writer,
Yes.
I'm really hoping they bring him back for series 9 because he gets
Yeah.
Doctor Who, and with
He
there's already a movement like I know it's early, but there's already that movement of like, yeah, let's make Jamie Matheson the new showrunner after Moffat leaves because
Wow.
he seems to get it,
Hmm.
but it is a little early, and if he can come back for
Yes.
like 1 or 2 more episodes next season and hit it out of the park again,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd say he's a good
He
candidate.
really does seem to write the banter really well, and it was a good story. So he found that balance. I almost chose let's start with pie. I don't mean edible pie, but circular pie, which I would also mean edible pie. But yeah, it was very good. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go first on ranking.
Okay. Okay. I'm giving this 9 out of 10 shrinking TARDISes.
So I am going 9 out of 10 flattened handles.
Nice.
So yes, I'm very, very happy with this episode. I did want to say we got a couple of feedback. Already told you about Ken. Our friend Brandon said, very easy review of this episode. Awesome. There was a ton that
Very, very,
happened, but I want
very
to,
verbose.
yeah, yes, tons that happened, but I'll save this when we can try to talk in person. I work with Brandon. He was very good. And Daniela sent us a nice email. I will not read it all, though she did want to make it clear that Beck, her sister, is the one who's feeling anxious about Clara leaving. Um, she did say, and I'm quoting, Beck and I were both a bit taken aback by the obvious chemistry between 12 and Clara in Mummy on the Orient Express, both wondering where the heck that came from. Beck was a lot more comfortable with the doctor in that episode, but she could really see where he was coming from, and now she's very confused, wondering if she should ship 12 with Clara. Um, I have thought they've had wonderful chemistry from the beginning, and not in a relationship
Hmm.
way, but truly, as we talked about, father daughter, and so I've really been happy with that, and I'm glad they are seeing it.
Yeah. I'm probably showing my age here a bit, but I was always a fan of the TV show Moonlighting. That had
Yes,
Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd, and I
yes,
loved their bantering chemistry back and forth. That
absolutely.
they're constantly getting on each other and kind of zinging each other back and forth and giving as good as they get. So when the 12th Doctor and Clara started doing it, I'm just like, yeah, bring it on. But I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. And that's fine. I get it.
Hmm.
So, but for me,
Yeah, I did
it
too, and
worked.
I'm really been, I've been on the record, and I will continue to be. I think this is a really strong season. I know some of the fans don't think so, um, and that is certainly,
Be,
there.
because
Yeah,
fans,
because fans always are. But
fans,
I
yeah.
just have been really happy with the way they've taken this. They are not telling the same story over and over again. They have made this a new doctor, and I love the 12th Doctor. I think Peter Capaldi has just
Hmm.
been absolutely amazing, and it is so cool to see him play all this nuances. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say, yeah, I totally agree. And if you think about like where we were, at the end of the time of the Doctor, when the 11th Doctor had just regenerated, and you're like, okay, this guy,
Hmm.
who, how are we going to deal with this guy?
Yeah.
And now here we are. We just finished the 9th episode of series 8, and you know he's found his doctor already.
Yes.
It's different. It doesn't click with everybody, but he's
And
made
when
it
you
his
think about
own,
it,
and I think that's great.
Matt Smith had really big shoes to fill. I think a lot of us modern fans, myself included, love David Tennant. There was a
Mm-hmm.
charm there. There was a depth. I like Eccleston and I enjoy a lot of his episodes, but just Tennant was and is to this day my doctor. That's who I think about. And so Matt Smith had to come in and he found his own niche and made it, in a lot of ways, the popularity, especially here in America,
Mm-hmm.
went to another level with Matt as the doctor.
Right.
Everything from being on, you know, late night
Talk
talk
shows.
shows and
Mhm.
different things and the touring New York and
Mm.
at all the different conventions. And so I really think that and please don't shoot me, fanboys and fangirls, but I think Moffat has done a good job of, I'm going to tell it Doctor Who, but a different Doctor Who. And
Mhm.
we're going to, it's the same character, but there's a little bit difference because that's the beauty of this character.
Yeah, I think that the way I've seen it is that there's still a lot of, because of especially with the newer fans, they were so dialed in to the way Russell T Davies did handle the show with the Ninth and the 10th Doctors,
Yeah.
so that when Moffat and Matt Smith came aboard, and and it's like brand new era, and everything's a little bit different, and to some people it didn't work, especially because so many of them were so hung up on David Tennant, and that's if that's your doctor, that's great. David Tennant's my wife's favorite doctor, but you know um, it's handled differently, and there's a bit more. Moffat obviously likes convoluted things. He likes characters with an edge to
Yes.
them, and they're not always squeaky clean. So
Hmm.
that's just his style.
Yeah.
And I know that some fans are just calling for his head, and eventually he'll step down. My guess, personally, I think he's going to be done after series 9,
Okay.
after a second season. That's just my guess.
Okay.
Um, he could stay longer. He could leave sooner. Who knows? But
Okay.
that's just my own personal guess, because I mean he'll have a really good long run.
Yes.
Like
and
that'll be
and
five
that's really
years, over
hard. It
five
is a
years.
hard show to run,
Hmm.
and British TV do a different. They handle things differently than US TV. There is not a writer's room the way there is for, let's say, Arrow or The Flash. It is Stephen Moffat assigning stories to people and then having to keep everything going. Um,
Yeah, he has basically like story pitches, and
right.
it's like he comes up with an idea. It's like, okay, the Doctor meets Frankenstein. Go get me a
Yes.
script, or
Right.
like the Doctor, meets um, Christopher Columbus, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just something like that, and then they have to come back, and
Hmm.
hopefully it's a good episode,
Um,
and it
all
works
right.
out.
We need to be thinking after we finish um, this current series and before we do the Christmas special, we
Hmm.
should do a prediction show.
Hmm.
So we are trying to get the Ministry of Chance on the show. It is a Kickstarter that is filled with many great people, including Paul McGann, the Eighth Doctor, and
So
we're working on how we're going to do the time frame with them.
yeah, yeah, because right now it's 5 hours ahead for my
Yes,
time, and then 6 hours ahead for Jesse's time
right.
in the UK. So we're gonna either have to
Yes,
record this on a Saturday or
but
a
yeah, we're
Sunday.
trying to get them on.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything you need to add, Charles?
Yeah, do you want to reverse the polarity?
Yes, thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. What do you have for us this week?
Kicking my segment to the curb. I see how you
Yeah.
are. No, just kidding. My reverse the polarity this time. This was a tricky one because this was such a unique episode. I was kind of tempted to go back to Fear Her from series 2, but that was such a horrible episode. So,
Okay.
because you had like people being turned into flat drawings, and so I was just like,
Okay. Yes. Okay.
so that's kind of where I was initially going, but I'm gonna go back actually to the classic series,
All
um,
right.
Tom Baker's final story, Logopolis, from season 18 in 1981. This was written by Christopher H. Bidmead, who was the basically the script editor at the time, and it's like I said, it's Tom Baker's last story, and it starts off with like the Doctor's looking to repair the TARDIS's chameleon circuit. So like he and his companion Adric, and unwittingly there's a stowaway in the form of Australian companion Tegan Jovanka, who's wandering around the TARDIS, and they end up going to Logopolis, which is this planet of mathematicians, and they use this like really highly advanced mathematics to create and change and morph things. So they use what's called block transfer computation in the hopes of resetting the chameleon circuit so that the TARDIS can change shape and blend in with the surroundings again. Well, unbeknownst to them, the Master shows up, and he arrives first. And while he's like lurking around the background, and he's killing some of the Logalopolitans, I guess you want to call them, he ends up disrupting the calculations during this attempt to fix the TARDIS. And in the process, the TARDIS ends up shrinking, and ends up shrinking down to like half its size.
Oh, really?
Which sounds very familiar.
It sounds very familiar.
And the Doctor's trapped inside. Sounds also familiar.
Yes.
And he's being buffeted because all these dimensions are being thrown out of whack, and it's all sciencey wiancy. But so therefore, Tegan, Adric, and another companion that comes aboard named Nissa have to kind of take over and help figure out what's going on, and end up restoring the TARDIS to its normal size so that the Doctor can take on the Master. I won't spoil the end of the episode because it's a big one, but like I said, this is Tom Baker's final story, so you can kind of figure out what happens.
Yes. Okay. Good.
So that's my recommendation.
Very nice.
It's a great story.
That sounds like a good one.
It is.
Good. I would not have guessed the TARDIS had been shrunk before.
It has.
So yes. Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, there was also a first Doctor episode called Planet of Giants, where the TARDIS goes through this series of events, and it ends up arriving on Earth, but shrunk down really small. And then when they get out, when the Doctor and his companions get out of the TARDIS, they're small too.
Oh, okay.
So that's everybody else is a Planet of Giants.
Very cool.
That's the title.
All right.
So there's that.
Charles, where can people find you?
They can find me pretty much all over the internet. I'm on Twitter at Charles Skaggs. I'm on Instagram, Google Plus. I'm on Facebook, and also there's my blog, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, which is all kinds of geeky things, including Doctor Who, Next Up Everywhere, and all kinds of sci-fi stuff. And also, you can probably give us a little exclusive here.
Yes.
That I will be starting up a second podcast.
I have heard rumors.
Very, very shortly.
Good.
It's a Constantine podcast, and we're calling it Dangerous Habits, with my co-host Karen Lindsay,
Very
who
nice.
So lovingly filled in for you.
Yes.
Once earlier during Next Stop Everywhere. So if you enjoyed the episode with Karen,
I'm really excited
I hope you'll
about
come and check us out.
I'm also hoping to guest star sometimes.
Oh, you're always welcome to guest star.
Thank
we
you.
just weren't sure because we know that you're not
I'm
a big
excited
horror
about
fan.
Constantine. I am really looking forward to seeing what they do. So that is nice.
Yeah, the show starts this Friday on NBC at 10 o'clock. So Eastern Time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check it
Very
out.
nice.
And, yeah,
I
we'll
can be
definitely have
reached
you
at
on.
JWJ170104 on Twitter. I do have a Facebook page, Jesse Jackson, and Louisville, Texas. The show Twitter account is at Next Stop SMG. We have a Gmail account, Next Stop Everywhere SMG at gmail.com. We would love feedback and your thoughts. We have not received any feedback on the reverse the polarity. It would be very interesting if anyone's gone and watched these episodes to give us feedback on it and see.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, no, Ken, my buddy Ken always is very impressed by your selection. He always thinks you find a good one that's a really perfect companion. So that's good to hear. iTunes, please go rate and review us. That is how people find us. I want to give a little shout out to Cuckoo for Who, our niece podcast. That is the family podcast that Robert and Molly do. And Martha, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, Robert, Martha, and Molly. And I know that Molly probably screamed just as high as you could do when they said, "I'm the doctor, but you can call me Clara." I know that thrilled her.
I think I could just hear it through my
Yes, I
headphones,
do
like
too.
travel
I just
through
thought it
time
was
and
wonderful.
space.
So it will be interesting to hear their thoughts. All right. Well, Charles, as always, I love doing this.
Yep.
Oh, we will have
come
yes?
come and check out our Facebook page.
Yes.
Because we just hit the 75 likes.
Yes.
On
Come
our
on,
next stop.
100.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
100.
we just need 25 more.
Yes,
Come on, help
please.
us out.
Yes. The Taupe Book
Help us-
says.
Yeah, come on.
Good.
Help us out because we can't do this without you guys, and we want to grow
Absolutely.
the show. We want to kick all the other shows' butts. We want to.
Yes, we do.
We want to be number one. And
Yes.
even with me doing a second podcast, this is my priority right here.
Yes, we love the
So,
Doctor.
Jesse was my first.
Yes, indeed, and it is absolutely great. So thank you, Charles. Thank you, listeners. For now, keep hope alive, and remember, long acquaintance is no guarantee for honesty. So,
Very nice.
thank you guys, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.